We are live and now we're unmuted. Thank you to my beautiful assistant. Breakdown of round 11 of the candidates tournament. And now we're unmuted. And well, I look forward to the day where the only technical problem here is my hair. Or to do something about that as well. So today was sort of a predictable round. Nepomniachtchi tried to kill the game against Caruana. Caruana tried to create something. Hi Kushal, how you doing? And you know, he didn't succeed, and without much surprise, this game ended in a draw. The Alexenko against Wang Hao game was some quite interesting sideline of the Italian, and it's not such a sideline. You can see Caruana played it, and I think there was an end game or something somewhere. Jeffrey Chong played it. Yeah, Anand Caruana. Okay, Caruana played it against Anand. And essentially, White was a little better from the opening, and then sort of it went back and forth. But there was one really interesting moment of the game. It was move 28 here, and at this point, Wang Hao, I think the game's still going, by the way, but it's been level for a long time. At this point, Wang Hao, he took on d5, and after queen a4, there was a lot of counterplay for White. At this point, if Black had played b5, anticipating this queen a4 move, he would have had a big advantage. And if it's enough to win, I'm not sure. We can see here, this is my my computer analyzed variation, where we can see that Black is at least much better here. Like here, a5 is suggested by the computer. You have to be a very cold-hearted machine to give up your h5 pawn like that. For me, this is much more natural. And here Black sort of gives back extra pawns, but it's very hard for White to defend against the various ideas here. So a variation could go like this: Rook f6, preparing bishop to h6 to e3 with mate. So for example, this is over, so White has to play down here, and we'll get an endgame like this where Black has real chances of winning because the White king is so bad and the White pieces are not working well together. But there's not many pawns, so draw is also a real chances. So I'm being told here in the chat that the game has already become a draw. It was on the way to becoming a draw when I looked at it. Okay, so these two games were, let's say, less interesting. There were many interesting moments in this game between Grischuk and Vichula-Grave, and I'm going to make for Killer Chess Training, I'm going to make a whole session on this game on Sunday, but I just want to point out one thing. You can see here I don't have the moves all the way to the end because the game finished literally just a moment ago. But if you looked at the Chess24 website, I think a bit too many people did that, and they were saying, oh, this is a draw. But as far as I can see, it's not. I'm going to try to put on my table base here and see if I'm wrong. But as far as I can see, this is not a draw. But if you looked at the Chess24 website, it said this was like 0.2 or 0.4 something. The winning line here is quite instructive. So the key point in these kind of endgames is we need to control the squares. The way the game actually ended, the White king came to d5 and bishop was on his way to e5, controlling the bh square, and the b-pawn had a clear run to the end, would make it easier for White. But here the winning method is very nice. King c3. Okay, Black king has to come back. And then we kick away the Black bishop. and then king c4, king d7, and now the key move is just king b5. So the point is, to advance the b pawn, we have to control these two squares because they're not supported by the bishop. So in order to do that, the ideal spot for the king is on a6. So let's say black plays bishop c3, white will play b4. The key point here is if black plays king e6, we don't want to, we want to defend the pawn with the king just a little bit longer, so there's no bishop b4 and king takes b6. But let's say black is just waiting. So yeah, I saw a little bit of the commentary where they were talking as if bishop a3 was a draw, but it just isn't. And this is the reason why. The king goes to a6, the pawn will advance to b7, and the king will go to a7, and we'll win the piece. If black tries to come over and do something with the king, the best he can realize is we can exchange the bishops, and the king goes over and takes this pawn, and while the black king is basically taking the b pawn. So it just doesn't work. Yeah, thank you, Fasil, for your comment. In the press conference, they were saying it was a draw, but I think they were just looking at this this website and going a little bit too fast. So it's a very complicated game. It will take me an hour at least to do it justice, which I will do on Sunday on Killer Chess Training. Okay. My game of the day for US, what is called uschess.org, will be Geary against Ding Liren. And there's sort of a few key moments I want to point to. And this is sort of condensing it to very, very basic understanding of it. There's some deeper understanding in my annotations, and I will send them to John very, very quickly so he can put them up. I have a few other things to do. I want to watch the press conference between what's after the game with only Geary, noting Liren, who played very badly. But so, okay, against the Spanish, took on c6. It's a practical decision. Got quite an interesting position. So this is the first moment I want to point to, which is here. Black should advance pawns on the king side. So there's some ideas like knight h5 isn't working because h3 here, and let's say g5, we have knight c4, and the idea is knight takes e5 and queen takes h5. It's simply not really working. And the traditional move to play in this position is rook hg8 to play g5 at some point. And the point is here on after b4 with a4 b5 is what white's doing, then this works. Because now after h3 bishop d7, knight c4 g5, now g4 is coming. And if we take an e5, then bishop takes and bishop takes c3 is coming. So this whole thing isn't really working. I have some very complicated variations after a4 here, which is very interesting. And also queen e3 is very interesting. And I analyzed it deep, and you can go and see that there very, very soon. But c5 is just a classic rule. Don't move the pawns on the side of the board where you're weaker. So at this point here, I think white should play b4. It just seems so natural. The idea is take and rook b1, and we see b7 is weak, and it's of course very, very unclear, but I like it for white. Okay, so there's again a lot of analysis. Here it's very natural to put the knight on c4, but you put on b3 to play for the c5 square. Black played knight d7. There was a nice move here, queen d6, with the idea rook d1, knight e4. That's a fantastic trap here. And it's sort of unjust that this position isn't lost for white. It's a little bit uncomfortable, quite a bit uncomfortable, these two bishops, but it's not lost. But here, so probably something like knight c5, knight d7, knight b3, knight b6, knight c5, knight d7, and you get the idea. Okay, So knight b3, knight d7, and here h3, h5. Okay, doesn't change much. And here white should play a normal move, rook b1, c4, rook e1, something. So Geary played this move, which is quite natural, given that he put the knight on b3. He wants to, basically, he wants black to take on b4, and we take back and open up lines and so on. But he sort of missed something. And I think this is quite common for Geary to miss these kind of things. So I think probably he missed c4. And the idea is if it takes on c4, then comes e4 and wins the piece. Knight b d2, then take, and very nice move. We cannot take with the knight because of e4. So we must take with the pawn, and then g6, trying to open lots of lines on the king side. And here white's best tries f6, but his position is not good. So so f5 here must have been unpleasant. He took on c5, queen f7, rook b1, defending the knight, g5, very natural move again. White has to take here, and here things were just not going right for Geary, for Ding Lian here. So if he takes on f5, queen e4, and then queen f6, and okay, the position is a little uncomfortable for white, but it's playable. So black has many ways to equalize here if he wants, but he can also play for win. We should say here g4 doesn't work because of checkmate coming on h2. But Ding, he played g4, and it's just horrible move. I don't know what he missed. So I'm coming with some guess here, but to be honest, it's more like an emotional one. Okay, so here he played b6. White could take the bishop back, but Geary decides to sacrifice a piece, and actually the game is sort of already over. Here black has to give up the bishop. And what is it with the Chinese guy and these moving the pawn in front of the king? Here there's endless amount of threats, and Ding resigns. So this was a decent game from Geary. It was a good practical effort. You get into really a novel kind of position, and the game became very interesting. Hi, Justin. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. We're all well and safe here. Kushal is suggesting here that Ding lost his objectivity. I think he lost his will to live. I think he definitely lost his will to be in Russia and play this chess tournament. So it was not a pretty sight. And this is a player who started the tournament last year. It's clear number 3 in the world. And yesterday he dropped, and today he dropped more. And he really seems in free fall. It's the only thing I can think of that was similar was when Rajapov competed in the candidates in 2013. He was rated number 4 in the world. He was there in a wild card. His father-in-law sponsored the tournament. But he was number 4 in the world. He was almost 2,800 rated. And he won the first round against Dimitrov in a very nice game. And then after that, he played really badly. And he lost rating in, it was like 30 games almost in a row he lost rating. And he went down to 2730 in very short time. And Ashwin here is saying that he thought that Ding was a favorite to win the tournament. Yeah, of course he wasn't a favorite this year, where he came there already on -2. But before the tournament last time, he was a favorite, and we should remember that he beat Caruana in a very interesting game, round 3. You can find the annotations to that game in great detail on uschess.org. And there will be no fake news of Bishop A3 holding draw or anything like that. And Doc is asking here, with Ding and MVL playing so badly and Nepo having these two players of two of his last three opponents. Is this over? Well, I think in general in the candidates, we only had one tournament in this format where the tournament was sort of over before the end, which was when Aagaard won in 2014. Otherwise, it's been nail-biting finish every time. Now Giri is half a point after Nepomniachtchi, and I think that's the chance. I don't see anyone else competing for the match here, and yeah, I'm very biased. I want Giri to make it. I don't think he has a realistic chance against Carlsen, but I don't think Nepomniachtchi has a realistic chance against Carlsen. It sort of reminds me a little bit about the World Championship match of 1993, where I also was very happy to see my good friend Nigel Short play in the final, but I didn't believe that he would ever win it. So this is it. Have a nice day. I'll see you again for the next breakdown of the next round. And until that, stay safe and stay happy. And if you want to, you can come and visit us at killerchesstraining.com. It's an academy with daily training for all levels, and we're just a happy place. You can also find our tournaments on Lichess, and most of them you can participate even if you have no interest in ever being part of our academy. So Doc is asking me, if Giri wins, do I need to rewrite my book about him? Well, I haven't actually written. I've written some article, analyzed some games, but I will definitely I'll definitely finish the book towards the end of the year, where there will be a lot of Giri material, including the article, which sort of is a little infamous, called "What is Wrong with Anish Giri?" And the answer is, of course, not much, but everyone has weaknesses, and it will definitely go into the book even if he wins, because there's also going to be a chapter called "What's Right About Anish Giri?" And for that to be longer would not be a problem for me.